the end of the day, you know that losers will lose. And last night, in front of America, we saw our country's biggest loser remind us just who in the hell they are. They are losers. Just like the Jets are losers, just like the Knicks and Nets are losers, just like the Mets are losers. So you could save the tape from January 29th, 2024, when one of those teams gets close and you think this is it, because you know there was a guy and gal in the city of Detroit thinking at 24/7, this is us. This is it. This is the moment. And then so many things that we will discuss on this show today occurred that sealed the fate of those losers. And I say that with compassion. I don't say that to be a douche. Like, I feel them because I am them. We are them. But last night, in front of millions and millions of people, just understand we all saw our future. Losers lose. Speaking of losers, your buddy Dan Campbell. What's up, Teak?
Why am I friends with Jet fans? I mean, seriously.
And Knick fans and Met fans. We're all together.
Just right now, Jet fans.
Okay.
Why am I friends with Jet fans who see losing of another team as equivalent to their losses and their lives over the years, and that any future prospects of the Jets getting to a Super Bowl or winning a championship are clouded by the ghost of all the losers that came before?
Why? Did you watch last night? That's why.
I did watch last night, but I think that, I mean, it's not loserish. It's just they lost because of math. Dan Campbell lost because of math, and I hate it for him because I want the NFL to go back to being old school. You got points, take the damn points and kick field goals. But, I mean, the only way to break a loser mentality, a loser self-fulfilling prophecy, a loser, I don't know, aura that hangs over you forever is to go win.
I'm a loser.
Yeah. Right? And the only way that happens if you don't think you're a loser. And so I think the crazy thing about what you're saying, and again, from the outside, 30,000 feet, you're right. The loser always finds a way to lose.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens.
That's what we do.
But you can't think that way, and you can't believe that the teams are going to ever think that way.
The entire postseason, which I nailed, by the way, congratulations to me, a Niners-Chiefs Super Bowl. One thing I fell back on was the Buffalo Bills will lose. They are losers. The Detroit Lions will lose. They are losers. And, by the way, the Jets, the Knicks, the Nets, the Mets, they're not the only ones. Like, the Minnesota Vikings are losers.
I'm a loser.
The Atlanta Falcons, Sal knows, they're losers. The Cleveland Indians, and I only call them that because that's when they had this, they're losers. See the way they lost 2 World Series in the last 35 years. So losers lose, and it's scary because I just know deep down Julius will be fine, the Knicks will make their run, and when they're good and ready, they will lose. But let's get down to the real math on this. You said math. Math is what cost Detroit. I want to make this very clear. There are a myriad of reasons why the Detroit Lions blew a 24-7 game. But a lot of eyes are on you right now, Tiki, because you are Dan Campbell's biggest supporter. You are Dan Campbell's guy, and Dan Campbell is taking a lot of heat. Again, he's not the only reason they lost, but some of his decisions, and I actually made a list of 5 decisions that he made that were brain dead.
Yep.
But let's get to the one America's talking about. You're at your water cooler today. Maybe a little Taylor Swift. Did she say I love you to Travis Kelce? A little bit of that. A little bit of this. A little bit of Mahomes. But a lot of, don't you kick the field goal up 24-10 with a 4th and 2 from the 28? A little bit of, hey, when you're down 3 with 7 minutes to go, do you kick a field goal with 4th and 3 from the 30? So I ask you, as Dan Campbell's biggest supporter,
Yes.
did your boy F up?
Well, he didn't, because math tells him that he's right. The analytics tell you that you should do that. And it's like minuscule percentage points higher of success, meaning winning the game, if you go for it on both of those 4th downs. The first one, I think it was 90.5%. Think about that.
Wait, so explain this to me. So if they convert,
No. Just going for it, not even converting.
Right.
If they go for it on 4th down, their chances of winning are 90.5%.
Oh, my God.
Which sounds amazing. Amazing. And so you go look at the little details, but when you kick the field goal,
Yeah.
the chances of winning It's not getting the first down. The chances of winning the game from that point, I mean, there's 7 minutes left. They still have a lead. The chance of winning the game are 90.3%.
So it's the same thing.
It's tiny. It's minuscule. But the NFL has become obsessed with math. And look, I've known Dan Campbell for a really long time. Back to before the turn of the century, Dan Campbell and I were friends. And that Dan Campbell I knew was, at least he presented, because I know he's a smart guy despite how he presents, biting kneecaps and everything else. He was a PE major coach and PE major type of football, right? We're going to run through the wall. We're going to bite your kneecaps off. We're going to knock you unconscious. Maybe you got to knock ourselves out to do so, but we're going to get up and going to do it again. It was like basic football. All the hard-nosed, like, it's nonsense, but it's reality that we live by. Take the points when you can get the points. And Dan turned into a math guy. And the analytics tell you to go for it in those situations. Both of them. The second one I don't have that much of a problem with. But to go for it in those situations. And he did. And it cost them. Now, the other things cost them more.
Yeah.
But those are the ones that we'll talk about. Here's why I forgive him, though.
You forgive him?
Yes. This is why I forgive Dan
Go
Campbell.
ahead.
One, he's my friend. But two.
Yes.
He's been doing this all year long.
That is true.
You can't just all of a sudden just say, well, you know, it worked. It worked in the divisional round. You know, it worked in the wild card round. Or not the – yeah, they played in the wild card round. No, they didn't.
Yeah.
No, San Francisco had the bye week. Right? It worked in the wild card round because they did it against Green Bay. They did it against Tampa.
The Rams.
No, the Rams. That's right. They did it. They do it all season long.
They have done it all season.
They did it against the Cowboys. Now, it doesn't work, but it's just philosophy. Yeah. It's what he believes in. It's how he wants to be aggressive, and he wants his guys to play that way. And if their safety or cornerback doesn't let a ball hit him in the face and pop up and get caught by Brandon Ayuk because a damn ladybug landed on his shoe before the game started, right? They probably win the game.
Yeah.
And so it's easy to criticize him, but math has taken over our sports. Not just football.
No, I get you.
All of them.
Okay. First of all, there are many reasons the Detroit Lions prove to America they're losers. It wasn't one reason. Josh Reynolds dropping a pass, bad play call. There's a lot of things that led to this kind of collapse. But let's get to this kick a field goal, go for it thing. Let's attack this whole they've been doing it all year thing, which is true. The Detroit Lions go for it on fourth down more than any other team in the NFL. Since Dan Campbell has come into the league, they go for it on fourth down more than any other team in the NFL. That is true. It's 100%. I'm glad we put the facts out there. But in every situation, are they up by 14 with a chance to make the NFC Championship game a 3-score game? Are they?
No.
Because the answer is no. A lot of the times they go for it on fourth down are situations where we would say, sure, go for it on fourth down.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Some of the situations are, it's borderline, but I get it. I'm sitting there, like we're all sitting there, just a red-blooded American football fan. And I said to myself, if you go for it and you do the big hulking, let's step on their throats, you are presenting something that numbers do not count. You know what that is?
What is that?
Momentum.
Yeah.
You have the chance to take that building, which sounded like Barclays Center for half the game, that's an insult, and you had a chance to bring it alive. You had a chance to take a championship caliber team and wake them up. Now, I get it. Michael Badgley lines up for a kick. Kick is blocked, the same thing could happen. Of course, Michael Badgley could miss a kick. I'll give you a little factoid. Michael Badgley didn't attempt any field goals of 40 yards or longer outside of a dome.
Yeah.
So I get it. There's a lot of risk involved.
Yeah, and you know what else? 40-plus, 45-plus yard field goals. You know what the success percentage is? 77%.
77.
So you're going to compare 77% of making this and then giving them the football on the 37-yard line versus, and momentum shifting as well, versus a 90% chance to win the game. That's where I'm talking about
I
math,
understand.
right? 90.5% is greater than 77.
Do you think Dan Campbell made the decision because of math?
I think somebody is telling him to do it. I think someone is, and because they all have these guys. They all have someone sitting up there with a protractor and a calculator and everything else and talking about, well, the percentage will tell you this. So just giving you the numbers, right? Like passive aggressive. I'm just telling you the numbers. I'm not telling you to do it, but I'm just telling you the numbers, right? That's what this league has turned into. And Dan has used it to an advantage, to a great a success rate. Why? Because he's got some good players. Like Jared Goff is a good player. Jamison Williams, despite dropping the pass, is a good player. Amon-Ra St. Brown, good player. Jahmyr Gibbs, good player. Like good players who let them down in the moments that mattered the most in this game.
No doubt. I'll tell you another area that to me was on coaching. Because it's not all on coaching as you just laid out. But I made a list of Dan Campbell F-ups. I did. Because, again, losers lose, but you try to figure out, well, what makes the loser lose? Sometimes bad decisions make the loser lose. And I thought maybe even worse than not kicking the field goal up 24-10. Maybe worse than not kicking the field goal with a chance to tie it with 7 minutes to go was the play right before that. They had a 3rd and 4. And I thought Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson, I know he's the offensive coordinator, so I guess we can blame Ben Johnson, but I look at the head coach as the CEO, it's on him. They announced to the world they were going to go for it on 4th down. You want to know why? Because on 3rd and 4, they ran the ball.
Of course.
Except my issue was they ran the ball with Ross St. Brown. They didn't run the ball with David Montgomery.
Yeah, that was too cute.
They didn't run the ball with Jahmyr Gibbs. They got way too cute. They ran the ball with Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's a hell of a player, but he's had 20 carries the entire season. He's had 0 carries in the postseason. So instead of running the ball with the backs that were effective in this game, losers lose. They do things that don't make sense. They do things that give you that better chance to fulfill the prophecy of being a loser. So on 4th and 4, you run the ball with Ross St. Brown, and then you're like, all right, we're going for it. And we know that didn't work. Losers put themselves in a position to lose. And I love biting kneecaps. Well, no, I don't love biting kneecaps. I love that he said, let's bite some kneecaps. Let's be tough. Let's be rugged. But those decisions sucked, bro. And those decisions are why we sit here today looking at the city of Detroit saying, how are we going to F this up? What's Tom Thibodeau going to do in the 4th quarter of a game against the Celtics in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals? What is Carlos Mendoza going to do in Game 7 of the NLCS? What's he going to do that's going to draw up another example of losing in this town? Because I just saw what Detroit did. And you can't defend those. That makes no sense. You're handing the ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown on a 3rd and 4.
Okay, they had one earlier in the game where they handed it to Jamison Williams, and he went 42 yards for a touchdown.
That wasn't right before a 4th down play where you're putting your season on the line.
I understand it. You just need half of it. That's what they tell you. When you're going to go for it on 3rd down, if it's 3rd and 8, and you're going to go for it, just give me half. Just give me – and he got half. Was it a right play? No, I don't believe so, because I think that David Montgomery was beasting everybody out there. He would have 90, almost 100 yards rushing. Hand him the football.
Yes.
Hand the running back the football. Don't get cute with it. But that's what offensive coordinators who are pining to be head coaches, and he's likely to be the next head coach of the Washington Commanders, Ben Johnson we're talking about, that's what they like to do. They like to be cute because it makes them look good. Can you believe that call in the NFC Championship game? Yeah, I do believe it. It sucked. But still, that's what they do. And so, to me, it still came down to making the play.
Yeah.
And Jared Goff got pressure. He was terrible under pressure. If there was one Achilles heels to Jared Goff, who had an unbelievable season this year, 4,500 so yards passing and touchdowns and interception ratio that was fantastic, he cannot throw the ball when pressured. He was 0 for 8 when pressured in this game. So if you're the 49ers, even without knowing what the hell's route is being run or what defense you want to combine with it, just get pressure on the dude.
No,
something bad's going to happen.
He was pressured on the play where Josh Reynolds dropped it on 4th down.
I know. That's what I mean.
But Josh should have made the play.
Of course. It doesn't matter, but it wasn't a perfect throw. It was a little bit dicey. He should have caught it, yeah, but I don't know. He's just – the numbers don't lie to you in that situation. When he's pressured, there's no chance he's completing a ball.
Are you going to text Dan Campbell today?
I am.
Oh, boy, that's a tough spot. What do you say to him? Like, hey, how's it going?
I'm proud of you, brother. You'll get back.
Oh, you're going to go with the I'm proud angle?
Yes.
I would just type 2 words. Math sucks.
You should write that to see what he says.
I'll write that, and then I'll write what I'm going to say, and then I'll write, oh, and math sucks.
Yeah.
You know, I'm stereotyping when I say this because you know Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
All right? You, Sean, as a Giant fan, remember Dan Campbell as a lovable player. And so I stereotype when I say Dan Campbell didn't make those decisions because of math. I think he made those decisions because he had the attitude of, I'm going to step on their
And
throat.
he's done it all year. And he's been doing it all year.
But that's where he's got to learn. This is a big pivotal point now for him to learn. because fourth quarter versus the Vikings in November ain't the same as the NFC Championship game versus a Niner team where math should come into how many possessions left do the 49ers have to score because I need to go up 3 at this point.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Now, the 49ers felt unstoppable from that point on because they
But
dominated.
like Evan said, momentum changed for them.
It's all about momentum. It felt that way because, look, the Niners got the ball to start the second half. They have a nice, cute little drive. They kick a field goal. You know, that was the momentum they had. And now if you're Detroit, you're in field goal territory. You have a chance to just cancel out what they did to open up the second half. And now there's 7 minutes to go in the third quarter, and it's a 3-possession game. And you could feel it. We all felt it. We're all watching on TV. We all felt that when Josh Reynolds dropped that football and Dan Campbell made that decision, we all had the same feeling in our stomach. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Like, that was the literal feeling America had. And obviously, depending on your betting habits and maybe your fandom interest, maybe it was a good uh-oh, maybe it was a bad uh-oh.
Yeah, but
I had an uh-oh of uh-oh. I can see this happening to me in 6 months.
Another Dan Campbell rabbit hole.
But I also feel like experience matters. And knowing the pressure of the moment matters. And because the Lions have been losers, even though last year they were pretty good despite missing the playoffs, they are losers. They didn't have the guys in those moments to make those plays. They just didn't. And it showed, right? You see, what was his name? Valdor. Like that's a prayer.
Yes.
That's a prayer shot by Brock Purdy. It was a terrible throw. He overthrew it by 8 yards.
And Valdor tips it up to make it catchable.
Right. No, he missed his hand. It missed his hands.
Right.
It literally went through his hands, hit his face mask, and went up in the air and allowed Brandon Ayuk to catch it. Right? If you know in those moments, this is my moment. Doesn't matter what else you do for the rest of the game. This is my moment to affect this game. I need to make a play. His brain couldn't slow down. Right? And it didn't. And it's because he hasn't been in that situation before.
And I know what went through your head when that play happened. It's the same thought that went through my head. Losers lose. Sometimes it's not even your fault.
That's right.
Ken is in Brooklyn. How are you, Ken? What's up, Ken?
Yo, you got me?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, so I just want to chime in on the losers lose mentality, philosophy.
Yeah.
So I'm a Red Sox fan. I was like 7 years old in 1978. I remember it well. And I was totally on Evan's page of the idea that, like, my team, you know, by the time the 90s rolled around, I went to, what was it, 93?
Yeah.
Brett Boone?
Yeah.
Or Aaron Boone?
86 years it took you to finally win a World Series.
Right, so, but I went to Game 7 where Boone hit the long shot.
Yes.
And the next year, I was invited to Game 6. Yankees were up 3-0, as we all know.
Yep.
Sox won. We won again. Game 6 kind of sounds exciting. I got invited to the game, and I was like, so I live in New York. It was kind of cold. It was drizzly, and I was like, I don't want to go to the game. Like, I had no...
Because in the back of your mind, you knew losers lose. We're just going to find a way.
Correct. Although, obviously, they did find a way, and not only was it that year, it was sustainable for...
But Ken, you're right. The Boston Red Sox changed that.
Yes.
The Kansas City Chiefs changed that. It can be changed, but you know what happens when a losery franchise changes their history like that? And it happens every single time. They do it in an epic way. It's not easy. They have to do it in the most epic way possible because the two examples that always jump out, I'll give you a third one too, of losers finding a way to avoid their losing would be the Boston Red Sox, the Chicago Cubs, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Okay?
Yeah.
Think about how all three teams ended that cycle. The Red Sox came back from 3-0 down against their archest of nemesises. The Cubs had to win the 7th game of a World Series after being down 3-1 to another cursed franchise in a rain delay extra inning Game 7. And then Cleveland had to come back after one guy decides to kick another guy in the nuts. And they come back from 3-1 down.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it takes the exercising of demons times 10,
by the way,
to break that cycle.
And you're forgetting the Super Bowl 4 years ago when the Kansas City Chiefs did it against the 49ers.
Yes.
They were down 10.
Yes.
In the second half.
They had
were
to be
down
epic.
10.
Correct.
They had to be epic.
Correct.
And Pat Mahomes and his first – did he win the MVP that year? No, that was –
Of the Super Bowl, the season.
the season. He won it of the Super Bowl. I can't remember if he won the 2020.
No, Lamar
MVP.
won it that year.
No, Lamar won 19.
Yeah, 19. Is
Yeah,
that what
that's
you just
it.
said?
2020 was the year the Bucks won.
Got-
The January, you're
The
thinking
year
Super
the
Bowl.
Chiefs
got it,
won
got
the
it, got
Super
it.
Bowl was
Right,
Lamar. Go ahead.
Right. So, anyway, yes, you're right. But they won that game down 20.
That's what
it
I'm
was
saying.
epic. It was epic.
That's my point. It has to be epic. But more times than not, whether you're the Knicks or you're the Jets or you're the Cleveland Browns or you're the Cleveland Indians Guardians, you actually don't get to change that. Like, yeah, we have our exceptions, but for the most part, it doesn't change. Losers just lose. And I feel like I want to give the city of Detroit a hug. I don't say this to mock them or troll them. I feel for them. We all should feel for them. Even though I'm kind of glad they didn't win because I'd be very, very jealous. But this is what losers do. We'll come right back with more of your calls. Plus, I think I have the perfect comparison to defend Dan Campbell with. The perfect cross-sports comparison to defend Dan Campbell's undefensible decisions from yesterday's game. Toll-free number 877-337-6666. Plus, a lot to get to. An update on Julius Randle and the Kansas City Chiefs do it to America again.